Oh, you get them. Two more. Boom. One last one, bud. There you go. So as you guys know, I've had these two bluegill in here for a little over 2 months now. The big one, Bear Gills, and then the small one, we never really kind of named him, but the little small guy right here. There's the micro pet. Bear Gills is about an 8-9 inch bluegill. Today, we're hopefully going to give them a companion in there. Watch fish. Watch fish. Bella. So I don't know why my little wiener dog Bella is becoming psychotic and hates this pet. Bella. I think it's the attention thing. She doesn't like the attention. We're gonna go microfishing now, a couple creeks. Hopefully we're gonna put a nice big crappie in there today. And you're gonna like it. All right, so I got my little micro fishing rod and I have my little live well to hopefully be transporting our next pet in the aquarium. I'm here fishing the creek with my girlfriend that is obviously just so excited because she's way in front of me right now. We're just fishing a very small area, a little warm water discharge spot that hopefully should be stacked with a lot of fish. I want to put a crappie in the tank, but I'd take a beautiful little pumpkin seed, honestly anything. I just know I want to put a new fish in that tank before winter comes. So we're gonna give this spot a go, see what we can pull out. I'm just using these tiny little like 1/8 ounce little tube jigs that basically catch everything. We're gonna try this spot. If we don't catch anything here, then we'll move on. How does it look? There's no fish? Let's see those beautiful casting skills. So close, yet so far. Oh yeah. Whoa, 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 whoa. No way. Oh my God, it's a trout. You are kidding me. What in the hell? There's no trout in this river. How did this get here? Hold on. Oh, I'm gonna fall so bad. I just need to jump. Yeah, hold the rod. What? This is a tiny urban creek in the suburbs of Chicago. There is no trout in this river. Easy, buddy. Easy there, friend. Easy there. Need to wet my hands because it's a trout. That is unbelievable. We caught a rainbow trout. I swear there's no trout in this river unless they're very new to stocking here. Look at that. Unbelievable. I seriously cannot believe I caught a beautiful little rainbow trout on like my first cast. There's no way they stock those fish in this river because it's a really shallow, like polluted river in the suburbs of Chicago. I don't know how that thing got in here. I don't know how it's surviving now that it's in here. That just might be one of the most surprising fish catches of my entire life. All right, we are switching spots now. Unfortunately, we did not catch any else out of that pool, but I seriously can't get over that trout catch because I just looked it up again, and so rainbow trout are not naturally occurring in any river anywhere near Chicago, I'm presuming. I don't think any lakes either. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure. The only way people in northern Illinois can catch rainbow trout, many states do this, is that they stock a couple lakes every spring and every fall while the water temps are so cold enough to where they'll survive in the water. Now, given the size of that fish, I'm almost positive that that was a stocked trout. The issue is that they don't stock trout in that creek, and this creek is not connected to any of the lakes that they do stock the trout in. So I seriously have no idea where the hell that trout came from. I mean, it was a really aggressive, dumb stalker trout, it seemed, because it hit this little white tube. So I don't know. That's one of the most unexpected fish catches I've ever had in my entire life. That is the absolute last place I would have thought I was going to catch a trout because, like I said, it's pretty polluted. People fish this river in that spot all the time. If there were a population of trout in this river, people would eat them out in like a year. So still can't believe I caught that. So unfortunately, we did not catch any other fish while microfishing those creeks. My fisherman's excuse is that the water was too cold, the creeks were too cold, because we couldn't even get some bluegills to bite. All we caught was that rogue rainbow trout. But it is now 2 days later. My girlfriend had to go home. We're abandoning the microfishing for the new pet for right now. I don't know if I'm still gonna do that, but that was my spot to catch those microfish in, and that wasn't happening there. So we're gonna audible and we're gonna pond fish, but we're gonna alter our tactics a little bit here. The water's cold, it's basically winter winter here now, so I am going to go to my favorite wintertime tactics, that being the lipless crankbait. Now this is my favorite and most effective, in my opinion, most effective lure to fish ponds when the water's cold, whether that be early pre-spawn, late fall. You can cover a lot of water, get fish to react, and then once you know you're in a very high percentage area, meaning there's just a lot of fish in the area, I'm gonna slow down and drag this heavy metal tungsten jig. So that's gonna be the deal for the day. A lot of these ponds have weeds. This lipless crankbait is perfect to rip out of weeds. Hopefully I can pull out a few on that, and then I'll slow it down with the jig. All right, let's hear how this 7-month-old reel sounds. Not the best. Not into bashing companies, but I've oiled this reel, I've taken care of it, and after 7 months it should not sound like that. But regardless, I'm starting off, like I said, fishing this lipless crankbait, and I fish a lipless crankbait a bit different than I see a lot of people, because the biggest thing is, as you guys can see, I fish it on braid. And the number one reason for that is because I always want to know what's going on with the bait at all times. The big reason people don't want to use braid is because braid and treble hooks is usually a no-no. Braid usually rips the treble hooks out of fish's mouths, and most of the year that's true. But right now when the water's so cold, the fish's mouth is way tougher. It's way more firm, and the hooks don't pull out of fish in the cold water months nearly as easily. So I don't ever typically worry about using braid. And the reason I use braid is because the way I like to fish this is I fish it on the bottom. The ideal situation is when you're fishing an old grass bed and you're ripping it out of the grass and like fishing it along the grass tops, because that is going to get your fish to react to the lure. Like, it's cold. These fish don't want to move far for these baits. They're not exactly chasing. So what happens with this lipless crankbait is they're sitting there in the weed top, the bait goes by their faces and they just snap and react to it. They can't help it. I like braid because it allows you to rip out of weeds way easier than, say, fluorocarbon. And the biggest thing is that with braid, you know exactly what's going on. If I have like a leaf, a piece of grass, a little stick, anything on my bait, with fluorocarbon I might not feel that, but with braid I'm always going to have contact with my lure and I'm going to know what's going on with it at all times. And I like to fish it on a pretty long rod, like a 7/6 rod, because you just want as long of a cast as possible. You're just casting it out, letting it hit the bottom, and then reeling it in along the bottom, letting it tick into stuff. Is that a fish? Oh, that is a fish. I had no idea. I'm like, is that a fish? They're so cold, it just kind of felt like I ticked a rock. I don't think it's a very big one, but a fish is a fish at this time of year especially. All right. Now this was exactly my point on why I fish braid. Look at how this fish hit this. It hit it from below. That's typically how fish eat these lipless crankbaits. They're below them and they come up to eat them. All right, not a big one, but that's a start. There's one. It's gotta be one. Oh yeah, that's a fish. Number 2, way out there. I just let go that first one too. I don't think this one's that big either. Yeah, about the same size. He ate it the exact same way. Look at that, both fish hooked the exact same way. Right on that bottom hook, eating it from below. Good deal, thank you, fish. Really not a bad one. If the bite around you has severely gone down because of the really cold water temps, then you gotta try a lipless crankbait. If you're already fishing a lipless crankbait and you're getting really frustrated by picking up leaves, sticks, and all that stuff on your lure, then try braid, because I mean, this water's pretty clear. I hope you guys can see this water's pretty clear. The fish have no issues biting it with the braided line, and the braided line does not rip the hooks out of their mouth when it's this cold. Wow, does that reel just sound? So crispy. All right, I've fished much of this pond now, almost all the way around without another bite, so I'm gonna switch it up a little bit, move a little slower, and switch to the jig. You guys should be proud of me. I actually brought pliers this time when I'm going fishing. All right, we got our peanut butter and jelly football jig tied on, and how I'm gonna fish this little dude, because the water's so cold, I'm gonna try to feel every little rock that I pull it over. I'm switching to a jig because I didn't really feel many weeds on the bottom except for that one small area. Most of it's just rock, so I'm gonna try to fish this jig over every single rock. I'm gonna name every rock. There goes Bobby and Fred. That rock was really tiny. We're gonna name that one Alex. and so on and so forth. I'm just gonna fish this jig super slow on the bottom, and hopefully big old Betsy wants to eat it. Very surprising. I have fished this jig for about 30 minutes now. Absolutely no takers. So with the little time I have left, now that the sun sets at 4:30 because winter sucks, I'm going to go to the stretch where I caught 2 fish. Since the only 2 fish I've caught, I was standing in the same exact spot, so that tells me that they're there for a reason, whether it be good weeds or, I don't know, they're there for a reason. So I'm gonna go back to that spot, hopefully catch a couple more on the lipless crankbait, because it has outproduced the jig today. Well folks, no more fish on the lipless crankbait, which means that is going to wrap up today's video. I fished a lot here in the Chicago suburbs over the last week with very little to show for it, which means that I think we're kind of getting into that awkward, really poor fishing time of year where you're lucky if you get a couple bites when you're out fishing. You could catch a big one, but you're not going to catch many fish at all. It's that weird time of year in between that really good fall bite and then ice fishing. So since the fishing is not the best here, I'm going to escape it a little bit. I think tomorrow I'm going either pike or muskie fishing with Lee and Robbie up in Wisconsin, and then I'm going to Texas for a few days. So the bite will pick up, I promise. Unfortunately, the bite in the Midwest around Chicago is just kind of coming to an end. If you're still out there trooping, it can be worth it. It can be very much worth it, especially if you're fishing a lipless crankbait, but I think for right now the ponds are just getting to be a little too cold around here.